And we are live. Hi, I'm Mike Islandstang. As you know, I'm live here today with this gentleman, Bradley Charalambous. How are you? You all right?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's all right. It always feels weird because it's like, that people assume that we haven't been speaking for the last, few minutes and saying hello already, but we have to do it
Yeah.
again. So it looks a little bit more organic. So the story today, boys and girls on Gridiron Hub and all across Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're watching this, is this gentleman going all the way from the UK and doing something that a lot of us have only dreamed about and playing in America. Rather than me waffle on about it because I'm not you, I don't know your story. Give us like your background, where you came from, growing up, all that sort of stuff.
Well, I grew up in North London originally, so like I wasn't too far from like most of the playing fields or whatever. And I grew up like everyone else. Like we watch football. There's the occasional rugby you see around, but I was never like really into sports kind of thing. Like I was always into like martial arts and stuff, which was great. But even that wasn't too serious until like as I got older. And eventually with with like American football and stuff like that, that was quite random. I mean, like I did play baseball in school, so I was around American sports, and the school I went to was out at Kings Langley, which is like near Hemel. And I always knew about American football from like my coaches and stuff like that, but I never really like how like you don't register it, but you know what it
Yeah,
is.
it's a thing that happens, but yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah, so it was like one of those things. And when baseball kind of didn't work out for me, like I got into it, and I remember watching a movie called The Blind Side with my mom, and I was like 16, 17 or something, and I was thinking, wow, this is crazy. This is like a crazy sport. Like you get to wear pads and stuff, and I thought at the time I'm going to go and try it out and things like that, and yeah, eventually, I got into it, and I found a local team, which is like the London Blitz. So
Yeah,
I
no,
joined.
well,
Yeah, I joined their junior squads and the team, and I started playing, but I could not play any position, man. Like I was
no.
bad. Like I was
What did you
bad.
start off as?
What I don't remember. I think he put me in as like a cornerback. Like he's like, you're playing cornerback, go play it. And then I
Right,
remember
okay.
like under Coach Henry, and I remember Coach Henry saying to me like, look, you're not athletic, but we have non-athletic guys who like also like play. But I
Brutal.
was but I was really, really bad. And then like eventually he was just like, look, like, you got to find something you're good at. And then I was actually going to quit. And one of my friends, his name's Hassan Osman. He was like, no, bro, don't quit. You'll find something. And then eventually I remember asking Coach Nick, and I don't remember his surname to save my life, but he was a special teams coach, and he was like going on about how we don't have a kicker. So I was like, look, I'll give it a shot. And I remember giving it a try. And like the first time I did it, like I remember booming the ball. Like I remember just really getting behind it. And I was like, wow. But then that was the first and last time. I wasn't able to replicate that absolutely.
That was it. The one it wonder.
But I really enjoyed that feeling of doing like
Yeah.
a kickoff. So I was like, right, I'm going to like invest in this. And I started to invest in it. And I was like, okay. And then eventually I played with the juniors, and it kind of went from there. And after playing with the juniors for a little bit, I was still pretty trash. But after playing with the juniors for a little bit and actually learning the game, and these guys were good. The junior blitz were really good. And playing like 11 on 11, I eventually got an opportunity to go to Austria, and actually moved because my dad lived in Austria at the time. So
nice, okay.
I actually went and lived in Innsbruck, and Innsbruck is home to the Swarco Raiders. And they are like a pretty serious European team. Like they were like, man. I mean, we would like train with that. So the junior squad team, which was like the U20s, would train with their adult squad. And I was like 19 or something at the time, and like they made us train, and I was just thinking, well, I don't want to do this. But then eventually, you get used to it.
Yeah, I knew.
So I did pretty well with them and their junior squad, and I started getting better and like kicking. And then eventually, like I had an opportunity to go with some American coaches, and then that led to a stint. Eventually, first time when I went over there to look at some kicking camps and stuff, but it didn't really. I didn't really like get it didn't really kick off where I started to like become quite good at it and whatnot until like when I came back and I decided that like after playing in a game with the Swarco Raiders with their varsity, called the JC junior varsity squad, I actually kept missing, and I wasn't doing too well, and I was thinking to myself, wow, I don't want to do this anymore, because I was getting pretty bullied badly for it, and I didn't like it. So I decided after a couple of months that I was gonna come back to England after, I think it was like 6 or 7 months, and then I actually quit kicking completely in 2015. Yeah, I think 2015. Yeah, so I quit kicking, and I completely like was like, I'm done with it. And then it wasn't until 2000 like I think 16, 17 maybe. I'm really bad with the date, so I apologize.
It's all right. I get like that. I'm aware it was a date that I did something, but the actual year could have been any year.
I don't remember like the years, because I actually just went to university, and I went to Goldsmiths University, and that was like they had no football, no sports. It was like really like you come, you study, and then that's your deal. So I was like, wow, but it wasn't for me. And then I ended up changing to Leeds Beckett. And now when I got to Leeds Beckett, things started to change, because I obviously came in with experience, with kicking experience, and with a lot of knowledge of the game. I've already played in Europe a little bit with the Swarco guys, and I was really looking forward to just watching and being part of that team. And it was actually Coach Dale who I spoke to, who I think he's still the head coach of Beckett. I don't know if all the coaches are still there, but it was there that I really got brought into the team, and really encouraged me to practice with that, train with that team. And I didn't kick very well at all. I still suffered from something called the yips, which it is now. I know it was called the yips. I didn't know what it was, but I could not kick the ball. I could not kick the ball, and I actually I made bonds there, and I made really good friends with people with the coaches and whatnot. And I'm still friends with these guys today, and the whole Leeds Beckett squad are fantastic. And that's definitely a place I encourage everyone to go to. If they like planning to play football at a really good level, a decent level, they should go there for sure.
There you go. Recommendation from Bradley is Leeds Beckett. Straight in there.
Straight. I don't know. I just swear the journey was, And then it was while I was at Leeds Beckett, I actually attended a kicking camp. And I went back to the States, and it was a camp that was close to one of my friends when I went to see him. So I took part in it, and the guy was like, look at the camp, look, it's weird. Like you kick one ball out of 20 or something, and it's really good. And it's it looks really nice, but the rest of them, you don't know how to get the ball up. I don't know what's going on here. And I worked with him for a little bit, and then, I came back to the Beckett and the season going on. And, I really tried to, take part. And I actually didn't play, I don't think, the whole season. Oh. So it was quite difficult for me, because I was I was part of the team. They were so, welcoming, but I wasn't actually able to do much. And then I remember just after the Beckett season finished, I remember I went back to Austria, and I was training with Dennis, who was one of the guys who was originally a kicker for the main team. And he was just telling me things like, you got to get behind the ball. And I had that exposure to someone who was actually an ex-D1 kicker, and that really helped me. And then I worked with a guy named Richard, so he's probably watching this now, but Richard Henley, and he actually helped me develop the ability to get over my yips, which I had somehow developed. And then eventually, just overnight, I just stopped not being able to kick the ball consistently. And then it just transpired from there. And then I said to myself, you know what, I can kick again, kind of. I said, I really want to do this. And, I went and decided to try and showcase myself and really put myself out there to take a bit of a dive. So I remember I contacted somebody over there, and I said, look, I want to try and attend this camp. I'm a little bit older than most of the guys, but I want to see what I can do. And they gave me an opportunity. So I went over to originally to Texas, and I went to somewhere in Austin, Texas. I can't remember where it was. And I actually kicked on this camp, and I went with with two of my friends at the time. So it was quite a nice vacation. And then after kicking on that in that situation, some of the coaches were like, okay, this is like we've got some stuff here. We're gonna write you down and we're gonna give you a number, and then if your number will go into a ranking with some other guys, and then we'll see what happens. Nothing happened. Went dead. Okay. So I was like thinking to myself, right, okay, well then I guess I'll go back to Beckett and maybe I can try and start or something, And I was actually I went on vacation that summer to Singapore to see one of my friends who he was in the military at the time, and I just came back from a night out on Singapore, and I get a phone call, and it's like an American number. It's like I saw the code California and then Glendora, and I was like, what is this?
Scam caller.
Yeah, I got called by someone, and he was just like, hey, we really like your kicking and stuff. We would like to come play for us. And I was thinking, wow, this is great. And then following that call, I got another one. I was like, oh wow, this is great, man. And this school contacted me, and it was a D2 school in the northern part of California. So I was like, wow, this is D2 school. I could probably go there for a year. I could train a bit. Maybe I'll get a chance. And the coach liked me. He was one of the guys at the campus at Texas. So then I fully committed to that, and I started doing my visa and everything. And then as soon as I was about to go there, the team folded. So this team's folded their team. So it's called Humboldt State, if anyone wants to Google it. They actually folded their team. And I was like, well, I can't just go and study. I need some grounds on, because can't afford it. Because over there it's so expensive. Yeah. So I was thinking to myself, man, I don't know what to do. And then I remember the first phone call I had, which was from this school in California. And I couldn't remember the name. So I remember how it was so hard to look through the logs and try and find out who it was. And I managed to get into contact with them again. And it was a school called Citrus College, which is in Glendora, California. And they're a junior college. So I don't know, I think a lot of people have seen the series Last Chance U, which is to do with the junior college and the community college and how it is and whatnot. Although that TV show is a bit Hollywood and over the top, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not, JUCO is rough, but it's not in the way that it was oh my gosh, I have to be so careful. Every time I make something's going to happen, I'm going to get cut. You do get cut because junior college is very, very straightforward. You either play and you play, or you're on the bench. And if you're not on the bench, you're not on the team. Right. So I managed to work something out, and I used some academics and scores and stuff like that to be able to get in, and then I managed to use an international scholarship to be able to get in, and I had my parents helping me a little bit, but I only had enough help for maybe a semester, so I had to make the team quick, and the sense of urgency kicked in, and I was like, okay, I got to make this team. And when I got there, I remember the practice, and it was
so which one's this? Is this Humboldt?
This is the first school. This is Citrus College.
Citrus, got you.
And it's funny, someone just commented, which is Jack, who's the kicker for the Kent Mavericks, or is it Kent Exiles? And yeah, it's funny that I'm saying this part of this story, because he actually told me what it was like when he went to LA Harbor, and how when he came onto the team, because he went to play football. So I'm going to say soccer now, it's going to lynch me, but he went to play, soccer, what they call it out there. And he was telling me when he got there, how many people on the field, how many guys turned up and stuff. And I was thinking, well, it might not be that many. I get to Citrus College, I get to the first practice day, and there's 183 people trying out for the team.
183.
183 people, or that exact number. That I remember asking the coach, Coach Ron Poster.
I need to make a note of this.
183 people, and I was just okay, I'm done. And there was 20 kickers. So I was like, oh no, this is not going to go well. But, things work out, and I managed to secure myself a spot, and I managed to get on the roster. And, my first season going in, I think it was the second game of the season, I got hit on a rugby rollout. So I was actually punting in the beginning. Right. And I did a rugby rollout, and I got hit really bad. Right. And getting hit in Britball, I remember being on the floor and thinking, I don't remember it being like this.
Yeah, they don't pull any punches.
I mean, I got hit by someone who was 6'8". He's built like a complete freaking brick house. And I remember telling my coach, I was lying there. I was like, I was like, oh, I was like, oh, I slid. He's like, no, he hit you. I was like, no, I slid. He goes, no, he hit you. He hit you, and he took me out. Like, I mean, I was, I was like,
Flew.
I don't remember. And I remember them saying to me like afterwards, saying, we're gonna put you on a stretcher. We're gonna take you to the thing. We're gonna take you out. And I was like, no, I can walk. And then I tried to get up, and I just went down. I was like, okay, no, I can't walk.
You're done. You're done. So this is Citrus.
That was Citrus College. That's the first junior college I went to, and that was the first one I went to.
And then after there, where did you go after that?
Well, after the injury happened and stuff like that, I did something called a red shirt, and I guess we'll talk about what red shirt, grey shirt, blue shirt is later. But like I grey shirted, which is like or was it blue shirt? I can't remember. But I basically it's called a medical red shirt, but it's obviously got a name to it too. But I medically red shirted, and I was like, I'm done for the season, which preserves my eligibility. So then I actually was like, okay, I'm going to play at Citrus another year and see where I go. And what happened is that I'm not going to go into it because it's quite. I mean, anyone can probably Google it and find out why Citrus's team was kind of suspended that year. But something happened, so something happened that wasn't great.
It's all right. The team got suspended.
Yeah, I mean, there was some stuff that I didn't want to be part of, and I was just like, if a team's getting suspended for this, I don't want to be here. And then I got an opportunity to play for the rival team, Chaffey College.
And that's where you were. Yeah, and that's the shirt.
Yeah, I'm wearing. I love Chaffey. Chaffey College.
The shirt up there.
Yeah, that's Chaffey's shirt as well.
And then the dreaded Rona hit.
Yeah, I mean, I played with Chaffey for nearly 2 seasons. First season was great. I sat behind. I say I sat behind, but we did split duties. Like I had a guy in front of me who was ranked number 1 kicker in the state. He was D1 bounce back. He was amazing. He was just academically. He had his. He couldn't go to certain schools he wanted to, and I know he was like trying to make sure he could go to the school he wanted. And some schools require a higher GPA, so he was like working towards that. But he was amazing, and if anyone wants to look him up, his name's Nick Lawson. He's a he's hell of a kicker. Like, he's really great. And some stuff happened, and then I ended up getting my shot. And then I went in, I did my stuff, and I kind of established myself then as the kicker for the team, which was huge for me because I finally got like my shot at being the player, or that could make the difference, And it went really well. And then in my second season at Chaffey, I started getting college offers to go and play for bigger schools, and
which we won't go into.
We won't go into. I mean, some of the
I'm gonna censor you for yourself. That you won't go into.
Yeah, I mean, some of the guys here who are watching this, they know the offers I got. Excuse me, and they I ended up committing to one of the schools, and it was a D1 FCS. I was so honored to do that. And then I made my move and whatnot, and started to do my transfer, my visa process, and everything. And then in my second season, where we only had like 3 games in, Corona hit, the COVID-19, and that actually destroyed a lot of things. There was a lot of other athletes from around the world that were also on Chaffey's squad who were transferring, and they sadly weren't as lucky as me to be able to come back to England and then still be around American football. These guys came from places that like have no American football at all.
Oh wow!
So or like one of the guys was like, it was quite an emotional day when we found out like the team was done for the year, and then people losing their scholarships. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen someone lose their scholarship, but it's like quite.
It's a big deal, I can imagine.
Because that means they can't have another one for a set amount of time. So it's quite difficult, and it caused a lot of issues in the long run. And it was quite upsetting. So
let's spin this back, because you've gone through basically start to finish. So what I'll do for the boys and girls out there is, so you started off, you went to the under-19s at the London Blitz. You bounced between there and Austria a couple of. You mentioned a football, like a kicking camp you went to. What was the kicking camp? Where was it? Was that in America?
I went to, yeah, I did. All the camps I went to, the first time I went to was in Texas, and
how did you get onto them, and how did you find them?
Well, I went to quite a few places, but like the way I found them when I was in the college originally, like it was much easier for me to get invited to these camps. Like most of them are invitational, but to be able to actually get to find these camps are quite easy. I mean, what I recommend most guys do nowadays is that they look at camps as a way to try to show themselves and who they are. Because it's sad, but it's true. Truthfully, like if they don't know who you are, if you're like, I'm a kicker from the UK and I'm kicking in a muddy field, a rugby field in the middle of nowhere, I've got the stuff. You might have the best leg in the planet. You might be super accurate, but they don't know who you are. They're not going to waste their time. So for them, your best thing to do is to try and find these camps. And there are a few of them. There's like quite big ones, but the one I used personally, and the person I worked with is Coach McCabe of 1-on-1 Kicking. He's fantastic. Like he's fantastic at giving exposure. He's fantastic of just like training those guys while you're at those camps. And these camps last between like 3 and 6 weeks. Sometimes they last up to a couple of months. But for me, working with Coach McCabe is what helped me actually get my scholarship out of Chafing. Although it wasn't a happy ending, he's even working with me now to see if I would go back on scholarship somewhere. So technically I'm still eligible. I've got 2 years of eligibility left, or maybe 3 with the COVID situation. I'm not too sure, but right. He's actually the one that sets up these camps, and that's 1-on-1 Kicking. Another, if we're talking about camps, another 2 places I actually recommend guys to look at, and then we said we will talk about like what they should do now if they're younger and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the kind of the way I'm looking at it. Is if you're a player out there, whether you're a kicker, or, receiver, running back, whatever, and you think, you know what, I want to get onto one of these camps. I want to figure out how I want to get my name out there in the States. What do they put into Google? If you're a kicker, you say it's 1-on-1 kicking. But is there any other camps out there that they could use as resources to just?
No, for sure. It does depend if you're a kicker or a punter. Because once you go to America, you have to decide. You have to specialize in one. I mean, like you can do both, but you will never, unless you're just some God-given talent, you're not going to be able to keep up the training on 1-on-1. I mean, like one thing I didn't mention is that I was kicking for maybe 5 hours a day. At one point, I was kicking practice would start at 5 a.m. We'd start running at 5 a.m. and then we'd go all the way into maybe 8 or 9 o'clock, a.m. and then you go to class and then you have to eat quickly and then you have to go back to train again. It was full on. It was full on. You can't do both. So for one of the camps I recommend for punting and stuff like that is Pro Kick Australia, which is in Australia. I know. So hang on. So it's an Australian kicking organization that is they specialize in punting, and they do kicking a little bit as well, but they do specialize in punting, or maybe they do a lot of kicking. I'm not too sure, but I know for a fact that most of my Aussie friends who play in college right now are through that system. And Pro Kick is they will bring you in a bit different to camps, but what they do is they bring you in for nearly, I think it's between 6 months and a year, and they basically academically get you ready. They get you athletically ready, and they do something that's quite unique that I've only ever seen Coach McCabe at 1-on-1 do, and that is that they get you used to times and they make sure that you're within regulations of kicking, and that is your field goals have to have a certain time. You can't, although there's this thing here in England that we talked about a little bit before, where I said that everyone says that they can kick. It's a true statement. A lot of guys here can't kick, and there are probably guys who have bigger legs than I do right now. But those guys, they go over there, and I've seen actually quite a few British kickers go over there, and then they don't make camp, or they don't make the team because they can't abide to the regulation of steps or times. Yeah. And that usually gets those guys are usually told hey, you can't do that. You got to get to the ball.
It's got to be done in a certain way.
Yeah. And when they get to the ball, they end up kicking it, and then they're blocked, and then they're blocked again. And sometimes they get through, but then it's not high enough, or then it flies to the right. And then what happens is it creates a stress situation where like you're trying to like, fix the situation, and then the coach is like, you're done. Because kicking is, if you don't make it, you're done. So, I saw a guy who was with me for 6 months on the roster. He went in front of me after the situation with one of the guys that was kicking in front at camp. And, he made 2 kicks he missed. But they were amazing balls. Like they made brief like 63, 64 yards. And then the coach came up to him and was like, you're done. So, and I never saw him again.
Wow.
So if you don't make it, you're done. So Pro Kick Australia and one-on-one kicking, what they do is they like really, they get you used to like your times. And if I was a young athlete right now, before I would even do those camps, I do something called Pro Form, specifically through someone named Rocketfoot. Or if you go on Instagram and you check him out, his name's Rocketfoot, under Rocketfoot Academy. He's a South African kicker named Jan, who is unbelievable. He's unbelievable. I think he is the best kicker I've ever seen. And he is literally a guy in South Africa who just kicks balls, and he is got so much knowledge and so much skill that he has honed his craft over these years. And he is somebody I would work with. He does virtual lessons, and I know we haven't gone into it yet, but when I came back to the UK, there's not much I could have done in lockdown. So what I ended up doing was buying a net. And for the last, how long I've been back, I've been literally in my backyard kicking into a net, or on the field when I was able to, doing virtual lessons through Coach Vian of Proform. And he really got me really, on point. Even in college, like he really made me, better. So I would recommend some of the young guys doing that. But it's not a quick fix. I mean, none of this is a quick fix. Like if you're already good at kicking, then you need to be ready to take on a long and tedious lifestyle, because it's so tedious. Like it's same motion over and over again. So,
I mean, for these camps, and I know it's something that Brits don't like to talk about, is money. And it's an awkward thing. How much do these you say they're out there for a week? I mean, if you go over to Australia, it's like a year. Do you have any idea sort of how much these things cost? Because there might be boys and girls out there that could potentially be asking for sponsorship, but they wouldn't know where to pitch it. Is it like, hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds, tens of thousands of pounds, just as an idea?
It's so difficult to say because it's so dependent. Like I got very lucky. I was already, I was playing college. I was established. I had some good stats. I was trying to up my game. I had schools already looking at me, so that those camps wanted to bring me in to then be able to, try and brand you and then try and say, like, I've put the label on you now, so you're representing us. I got picked up by one-on-one kicking. I actually just had a random phone call in the middle of nowhere, just asking me to come work with the guy. And McCabe was like, come work with me. And I managed to go work with him. And I ended up just paying for my flights and my room, And
oh, wow.
Nice. I did also pay towards the camp, but I did it more out of like, wanting to be trained by someone so professional. Okay. But like in terms of like how much these camps cost, I don't know, because it depends on how long you want to go for. Like if you want to go for somewhere like, for example, like it does cost money. I mean, these things all do cost money. I mean, like that's the thing they never talk about athletes, man. Like the D1 guys, the amount of money of their own money they spend before they can get to D1, especially JC. Like you're playing in junior college, and most of you guys have like 2 jobs. It's really difficult. Like I was literally struggling most of the time when I was at junior college. It was quite difficult. I mean, there would be days where like I would literally like open my like bank account and be like, I had to decide. It's funny, but I had to decide like if I would like literally. I know it sounds a bit extreme, but I would have to decide like what I would do for the whole week. Like I had to be really careful with my money, and eventually getting a scholarship changes someone's life. So yeah. If I was 18 years old right now, 17, I mean, I'm 25 now. I'm so old.
Oh, you say you're so old. It's all right. I'm not even going to say how old I am. As I was described on Sunday, I am as old as dirt. So you kind of went, you did these things, you got the phone call, and it described the process, because it's got to be different. A UK university to an American college in terms of their sort of mentality, their education system. So you say, right, go on, I'm in. I'm going to go over. I think it was the first one, Humboldt. Your first one over
Humboldt,
to.
yeah, Humboldt.
So you say, I'm going to get myself. I'm going to go on a jet plane. I'm going to get over there. How did it compare to a UK university? To an American college? I mean, what's the differences, just for like a bit of a culture shock?
I mean, I was very lucky because I grew up around baseball, so I actually knew Americans and I grew up around Americans. I wasn't too stressed, but I think it's the people I met along the way before I went that helped the process, and I think in respect to them, it's like I remember that I remember getting there in the beginning and being like, what am I doing here? Like, I was like, what am I doing? Like, what? So I just saw one of the comments from Jack.
Yeah.
This guy, man. By the way, in my opinion, yeah, it's going to upset a lot of people, but I still do think Jack, I think, I don't want to butcher his surname, but I think it's Jack Moore. But I still think that he is the best kicker in the UK right now. If there was like a ranking, I'll put him at number one, because he's got more experience than any of the guys I know. But yeah, no. But what I was saying is that it's about the people I met along the way. I mean, he's one of them. I actually was at. I know I said to you that I went to Blitz juniors and stuff like that, but I played for other teams too. Like I played for the Cheetahs. I played for the junior squad a little bit. I played for the senior team for the London Hornets, who I've been playing with. Like, I met two people on the London Hornets who influenced my life, and the first one was Coach Phil, and the other one was Coach Aguayo, and those guys influenced me massively. And then Jack Moore and Keaton, these guys are all the reason why I looked into junior college. And it's the information that got passed around from word to mouth, sort of mouth to ear, that has allowed me to look at these JCs, because it wasn't like I just went to a camp and then they just picked me up. I actually spent time calling these schools and desperately trying to find out if a school wanted a kicker. And the amount of times I was told, we've got a guy, when they hang up the phone, it was quite upsetting. But like, eventually you do get a call back, and the camp helped out. And Humboldt, like you're saying, Humboldt was first place that wanted me, and that started the process. I was very lucky that transferring the visa process to a JC in the same state. If it wasn't the same state, I think I'd still be here. Right. So it was like a very lucky time for me.
So but, do you say JC? That's junior college. Junior college. For anyone out there that may not know the college system, what is JUCO? I know the Last Chance U, all that sort of stuff, but if you could just give it just straight down the line for the folks that are watching.
Junior college is a community college, which is a 2-year school. And what happens is that a lot of people out of high school, they do something called a GPA, which is their grades. And they start in their freshman year and they finish their senior year. And if your GPA isn't good enough, you can't commit to a college. So what happens is that people who go through high school, they don't do very well. Maybe there's some problems at home, or maybe there's some environmental issues that impact their life or something. They go to these colleges and they go to do their academics to try and catch up and then be able to go into the system. Now, what junior college football is that it's part of the school, because the school itself is still a college, it's still a university, and it is its own independent school. It's like saying, how we used to have Met schools here, and we have the university, and then we have the Met University. It's the same thing basically. And what happens is that these schools allow people to have the opportunity to get their grades fixed, retake some classes, and make sure that they show that they're academically able to be able to then go to a bigger school. Now, the thing is in States that you can't play football if you do not have a 2.0 GPA or higher. You're not allowed to play at college. Your first season at JC, you can play without having any sort of GPA. But once that season's done, you now need to have a requirement of 2.0 or higher. And a lot of guys, they go to college, D1, D2, D3, and they basically, well, I say D3, but it's usually D1 or D2. They go to these colleges, they play, and then I don't know if you have the word bounce back, where like they end up going to a junior college. It's essentially means that they've gone and they've come back and they're not good enough to stay in their respectable schools. And it usually is 9 out of 10 times with academics. And I don't blame some of these guys. You know, some people say, oh, people are stupid, But even me, like, I've always been okay with my grades and stuff like that. And I literally struggled because I could not balance football and life. And it was so difficult.
Yeah. Well, that's, I mean, we'll bounce onto that because we've got an idea. So you go to junior college, you get your grades high enough, then you can get yourself into these college. And that's where you say you start, was it a 5-hour day of football? And how did you, in the heat, so you've got, so you wake up, you're at 5 a.m., you start running around, you're doing all your bits and pieces, and you've got university on top of that. So, I mean, everyone's seen it in Hollywood and all that sort of stuff. How does it work? I mean, as a UK player going over to do that, how did it feel for you to try and do that?
It was overwhelming. I mean, I didn't do well in my first couple months. I actually struggled to be able to keep up. I mean, also the strength and conditioning was another level. I was let off a lot because I'm a kicker, and I didn't need to be so strong in the weight room. I mean, there are kickers that I'm friends with that are they play for their D1s, and they could probably just destroy most of the Britball linemen in lifting or some of the riders, without any question, right? But most of the guys who kick aren't that strong. So they're strong, but they're not strong in that way. They are, but the training does that just because you're not lifting 24/7 with the guys, you're also put into other training situations. So I'd wake up at 5. I'd be at the field house by 5:30. We'd be talked to about the day and the itinerary, and then we would be told, you're gonna go, you're gonna run, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and we'd be like, okay, we do it. If someone's slacking, you run faster. Then we do, if someone makes a mistake, then you do suicides, or what my coach used to call it would be devil sprints, which is the football field's 100 yards. So you'd start at the end of the field and you have to run full speed there, and then you would have to run back again. And we'd keep doing that until people start dropping like flies. They just don't care, man. They would you have to be on it. And I used to drop all the time, but the coach won't cut you. Well, my coach at the time wouldn't cut you because he believed if you're putting the effort in, you deserve to be here.
Yeah.
There was some freaks of nature, man. I saw a guy do it and he just was like, I'm fine. And he did 20 times. I'm fine. I'm he's just sweating profusely and looked like he's, but he's like, I'm fine. And they would do it. These guys would usually be the running backs or the DBs or the receivers. I mean, in my opinion, they are some of the fastest people, just insane. But the linemen would suffer, they would really struggle, especially in the heat. And these guys were huge. You think Britball linemen are big.
No.
I went in at 22 years old, and then I was talking to a guy, and I'm looking up at him, literally looking up at him, this is 6'9", and his name's Ryan. He's 6'9", talking to him, and I'm thinking this guy must be 23, 24. And he's like, no, I'm 17. I'm turning 18 next month. I'm just oh my god, bro, what are you who are you?
Don't eat me.
Yeah, don't eat me.
Don't eat me. I've had this from Tom Harvey just in the comments. Ask him about his ducks.
How does this guy always find a way to antagonize me, lad? Even on a live show. What is this? I have ducks. I have pet ducks. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I didn't know it's the way he threw it in. Is that pet ducks in the UK or is that pet ducks in America?
Oh, I've got pet ducks here. I've got 7 pet ducks right now.
Fair enough. Well, there you go.
I got two, and then they end up having babies, and now I've got more, and then I don't really know what to do with them, and I'm just and now I have them.
Ducks.
They're fun. They're someone sent me a message today and was like, "Why do you have ducks?" It's like a dog, isn't it? It's the same thing. It's just it's like a dog. So yeah.
Fair enough. So you're out there. You've gone through all the bits and pieces. You've done junior college. You've got yourself into Humboldt.
Yeah.
Then you went to Citrus. That went a bit wrong, and now you're at Chafee. This is the big one. This is what you're wearing your shirt of and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Chafee was
You did
D2 as
you
well.
did 2 years there, and then of course the dreaded Rona hit, and you're back home. I mean, what's the next progression for you? What's the next plan? You going to go out there soon? You gonna when are you next hoping to get out there?
I mean, the thing is that I literally came back and I was kind of done. I mean, I mentioned earlier that I still train with Coach Vian of Rocket Foot Academy, so I'd still train with him, and I was working with him still trying to perfect stuff. And which, to be fair, when I originally came back, I was super motivated. I was like, I'm going to go. And I know we talked about scholarships earlier, and I was exchanging them with you and showing you and some of the schools that contacted me previously, but I basically didn't think that I'd have a chance anymore because I became very lazy when I came back to the UK. I became very unathletic. Like I became very couch potato like because it's
most folk did. Everybody did. Don't worry.
it was, imagine that you go from like it's I don't want to get emotional about it because it's quite a thorn in my side, but like you go from playing with some guys who are like some of the best guys, and you're training in a real situation and program, and you're in like a college environment, like so I didn't know what to do when I first came back. Before I came back, though, truthfully, something I haven't mentioned is I spoke to my friend Taylor Brown before I came back, and he was like, "Look, man, I know that this is not a D1 school, but like obviously Derby University is a good place, and we'll take you, we'll help you out, And I was thinking, damn, man, like I want to finish my I want to finish my degree. Maybe I just changed I was doing a different major than I was doing a degree at Beckett, and I was pretty low. And I said, you know what, he's helping me. He's gonna get me straight. He's gonna give me, he's gonna be good. And I come back, and Derby University is the only reason right now with their squad, the Braves, is the only reason I haven't quit right now. Danny Burton, who's the head coach and also a good friend of mine, is also a very good kicker, like top shelf kicker. You know what I mean? Like top shelf. He's been basically busting me and being like, you can't quit. I even have one of the kickers there. His name's David, who's still new to kicking, but he's getting good. He was trying to like get me to keep staying in the game. So I owe those guys a lot. And I did want to quit though, because coming back from the States off a scholarship high is just, yeah. I tried to quit. I've tried to quit like I think 12 times now. Very specific note, but I've tried. So the next steps are, I don't know. The Canadian draft is in April. I do have a lot of college film. I do have quite a bit of film, so I could force my way in and give it a shot. The GFL, there's a couple teams, I say couple, but like 2 or 3 teams have messaged me and been like, we would like a guy to come down. You have a European passport, blah blah blah. You can, we can make it work. So I was like, okay, cause I have dual citizenship nationality. So I was like, okay. And then obviously like Coach McCabe, he's really great. That's why I keep saying one-on-one kicking, they're really great. Pro Kick Australia, they're really, really great. They stay on your ass as well. They're like, we can help you, So, but like Coach McCabe, he's helping me out right now. I'm looking at maybe some scholarship options, like maybe to go back and play. I still have eligibility left. So I don't know. It's up in the air. But the most important thing is that this game is coming up in November. I know like some guys aren't taking it seriously. I know some are taking it seriously. I'm taking it really, really, really seriously. Yeah, the Canadian game, and it's an expedition game, so I'm taking it really seriously because for me, it's the first game I'll be playing with everything I have. I played a game with the Hornets when I came back, and I did not do them justice at all. I absolutely just bombed it. Like I just completely made myself into a fool, and like Coach Phil was just like, "Bro, like, come on, like, what's wrong with you?" So I was like, I hadn't kicked a ball in a long time at that point on the field. Like, it's been a while. So, but like Britball is just, I don't know, man. Britball, I like Britball, but then I don't like Britball. Like, one of the people I'd like to thank, actually, if I have a chance. I know it's like been 45 minutes in.
That's all right. You go ahead, and then I'll ask you the next little bit.
Yeah, go for it. Is when I was on the senior blitz. I did play blitz seniors. I didn't mention it. I did play for a little while. I wasn't very good. This was like 2015 or something. To be fair, Coach Damien. I don't know if he's still with the blitz though. I don't know who's the head coach now. But Coach Damien, he was very kind to me. You know, those guys were very. You know, they were quite kind to me. A few guys. Luke Musgrove. I don't know if I butchered his surname. Musgrove. He was to me, in terms of kicking and like starting this whole, because I actually quit, like I said, when I came back from Austria, and I quit. I was like, I'm done. Like he was like, no, like, no. I tried to quit this sport so many times. Like,
12 times.
I literally can get a list of that was 12 times during COVID. Like millions of times I'm trying to quit. You know, I've managed to stay. I don't know why. Like I'm getting hyped about it, but like I can literally list you people like. But like I'll just list a few and then I'll go into that something different. But like, you know, Luke from the Blitz, he's one of the best kickers I've ever worked with. I feel like he's one of those guys that, like, you know, we talked a little bit about yourself, that he's caught the wave a bit late. I mean, he's, you know, as you get older, you know, now the game is developing now. Our youth is going to be the next generation here. And that's why, like, I mean, I think the next question is going to be about like, how can guys contact coaches and get to college?
Not quite, but
man.
You're 2 steps ahead, but we'll go into it. Well, go on.
2 steps ahead.
There you go. So all I was going to say is, you mentioned before eligibility. So eligibility and visas and all that, how does that bit all work?
Right. So I'm going to get, so I spoke about this with you a little bit before, but like there are some people in the British football community who are hiding information on how guys can go and play in the States and how they can do it. And one of the worst things that I've experienced is that people are like crabs and they drag you down. And what they've done is they've not allowed these people my age group right now, 25 and under, to be able to get this information. And with eligibility, that's one of them. So a place I actually recommend to learn about all of this stuff is DSA Academy, like by Adrian Clemens. They're a good group. They are like a proper training group. They will get you in shape for college and stuff. They're the real thing. But for other academies, I'm not going to go into it. There's a lot of them in the UK. I would steer clear, and because they lie to you about eligibility and things like that. So how this works is that when you go and play in college, you have 5 to play 4. So that's 5 years of study, 4 years of game time, 2 years of a transfer portal. Okay. So you go to the States, you start something called your clock. Your clock is what is important to everything. You lose your time on your clock, you don't play college sports. Okay, you could be 40 years old. I'm going to say this close to the mics. I need people to understand this. You could be 40 years old and still play college. The dream isn't dead. Okay, but if your clock is dead, you're not playing. So
you never know. Come on, I'm not far away from that.
I mean, you got to be good enough, and you got to be able to do, you know, what you're going to do. But like, it is blown into proportion. Like the level you have to be at college. Like I talked about Beckett earlier, like, or like Derby. There's even like Nottingham. I think there's some other Prem teams. You know, it's these Prem uni teams, and there's some really good D1 teams, like I just said, Derby, are great for guys to go into to learn about the level. But with eligibility, what university does is it starts your clock. So if you're going to go to university and you're going to play on the field, be aware that you're starting your clock. The moment you step on the field, you start your clock. I remember Coach Dell contacted me in the States and being like, yo, I just got like a mountain of paperwork on my desk from the NCAA. Like, what am I doing with this? Like, what? And because I hadn't really played a single game that whole season, I didn't start my clock. So the moment you kick a ball or the moment you hit someone, the moment you do anything on that field is when you start your clock. Jack said something. 40 years old, you could probably play NAIA and D3, but you won't be playing D1. It's true. But the point is that you can be older than you think and still play D1. But the NCAA do what they want. But with the clock, it's 5 years to study on a scholarship, athletic scholarship, 4 years of your eligibility to play, 2 years of a master's degree. You get 2 years of eligibility somewhere else, yeah?
Right.
And what happens is that when you accept a full scholarship to an NCAA D1 FBS school, D1 FBS, they have to offer you a full athletic scholarship. They have to. Down, NCAA D1 FCS. There's no difference between the two. They're completely identical. Only thing is different is their playoff structure. I'm not going to go into that. You all have Google. Go Google it. I'm not going to go into it. But the FCS has a different playoff structure, which is what I preferred. They can offer you 50% of the scholarship, 50% academic, 50% of baseball, scholarship of a lacrosse or some other crap, and they merge it together. You got 100%, you got full ride. Okay? But FBS have to offer you 100%. FBS is like Ohio State, LSU, Texas, all the big ones. FCS is like Northern Colorado, Montana State, Montana, like all those kind of schools, or North Dakota State, which we all know where Carson Wentz came from. They're like complete powerhouse, crazy. That's FCS. Underneath those two is D2. Now D2 does the same thing, but it's different eligibility system. D2 has to offer you 50% to 100%, but the eligibility system is different. Okay, the eligibility is based on semester. So if you do semesters in the UK, let's say like I go to Derby for like half a year, or I go to Leeds Becker for half a year, then they take that into account. And then the next academic semester, like the spring, the summer, the winter, whatever, they take that into account. So eligibility is actually based on that. So not 4 years, it's based on semesters, which is like could be up to like 6 years. So you can play D2 for like 6 years. But people don't because that's ridiculous. Like, you've got to graduate and you have to, they tell you to leave. That's stupid.
You've got to go and earn a coin sometime.
Nah, you've got to leave eventually. You can't be here the whole time. Do you know what I mean? Like, we had a guy named Carlos. Like, he was literally living in the dorms. He's been there like 5 years. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? Like, graduate, go home. You know what I mean?
He just loves it so much. So when you talk about, how do you find out whether what's the paperwork side of this? Because, it's very dull and boring and everyone wants to just know, this guy kicks balls, and all that sort of, and he's really good at it. But what's the paperwork? Is it like a website you find and you fill it in? You said before you ring the college coaches and go, any chance? And
right,
they go,
this is a scam.
Yeah, have a go.
No, this is the scam that everyone falls for, yeah? They call up they go to these places, getrecruited.com, and they go to get recruited. And what happens is that these places, they make you pay money, fill out stuff, make you sign up to things that you don't want to. The only two things you ever need to sign up to is the NCAA portal, which your college will do for you, right? But they will do for you, right? They will like, they'll sort out your NCAA. It's called NCAA number. That's the only thing that you're ever going to be given, like, digitally, right? Everything else is done through your school and your academics and your athletics. The head athletic director deals with everything. What you need to do is, if you get a scholarship, you go out there, and I will give like I know maybe we've run out of time, but I'm going to give
that's all right.
The pathway on how to like really get out there, what I would do if I was 18.
Go.
You want me to go? Okay, so
yeah, this is
part of it. It's all part of it. So if I was 17 to 18 right now, and let's just say like what today is? Today's the so it's 10th, so A-levels day, right? So people get the A-levels today, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's just say I just got my A-levels. I'm a kicker. I'm Brad. I'm 18 again. I want to go play in the States. What do I do? The first thing I would do, this is what I would do. I'm not telling you guys to do. I'm telling you this is what I would do. If I was 18, I'll go into older ages in a minute. I would immediately go do virtual lessons with like just do virtual kicking lessons. Like I mentioned with Coach Vik a few times, Coach Vian. Go to there's actually, I'll mention that in a minute. Jack says something that's quite important. I don't know if anyone's reading the comments, but he's someone else speaking about. He played for LA Harbor, and he also had when I say major NCAA FBS D1 offers, he had major ones. Like he went and did it all. So he's someone people should contact. Jack Moore, if anyone wants to DM him. But it's it is a imperative that you get your kicking under belt. If you're a receiver, there's also the same thing. People do virtual lessons with receiving. They teach you how to have better hands, running, sprinting, athletic training. I would literally do virtual lessons. I would take a year out. I wouldn't go to uni. I'd do 1 year out. I would train my ass off. I would be very specific on what senior team I join in Britball. right? And I would make sure that I'm doing my virtual lessons and I'm getting ahead of the game and understanding how to kick properly. If I was a running back, same thing. It's all relative. Quarterback, I cannot stress this too enough. The reason I look down on British quarterbacks so much is because our mechanics are all over the place. Like that's it. It's just it. We're just like all over the place. But for kickers, we're different. We grew up playing football, rugby. We had it kind of there. So I would do that. Spend a year, 1 year off. I'd go get a job. Don't leech off your parents. Go get a job, right? Go work for a year. Fuel your ambition, and just if you're able to stay at home and do that, then do that. Yeah. The next season, when you're 19 now, turning 20, they like when you're older. They like older kickers. This is a misconception. They do not like younger kickers. They like older kickers. It is a very hard job to kick. I saw an 18-year-old who was amazing. He missed one ball, mental breakdown. That was like, just it, done, finished. You can't kick again because you can't recover from that. Like you go from kicking in a muddy field in front of 20,000 fans, 20,000 fans.
Wow.
Like I was completely freaked out. But like I managed to, I have a routine. I can calm myself down. These kids, I have no idea. I say that, but most of the kids from Texas that were playing were like from like more than that. So
yeah,
but like they're used to it because Texas football is crazy. But the point is, I do that. I take a year out. I train with a virtual coach. I'd learn. I save money. Then the next year, I'd go to uni. I go to uni like Derby University or something like Nottingham. Nottingham has a good program. Durham has a good program. Leeds Beckett has an amazing program. Like, just if you're thinking about playing somewhere, just go apply there right now or apply to Derby. Like, I'm biased as hell. I don't care. That's what my opinion. Yeah, I don't care.
Fair enough. You're allowed an opinion.
Coach Dell will get you straight, or Danny Byrne will get you straight. They'll fix you. Yeah, go play a year of uni ball. If you still feel that you're unconfident and you don't want to try senior ball, while you're doing that in the next year, either you're playing senior ball or if you're playing uni ball, whatever you're doing, you go to camps. Go to camps like one-on-one kicking or Pro Kick Australia. If you're playing uni ball, if you're not playing uni ball, do the same thing if you're playing senior ball. But the difference is that if once you start uni ball, although you'll be in a team environment, you need to be aware that your clock will start. As soon as you step on the field and you start kicking or you start running or doing stuff, your clock starts. So you're burning a year of eligibility. So it's not my biggest recommendation that you go to uni if you want to do this, but like I do recommend it still because it helps you with the academics. So that's what's important now. If you do the senior route, you're going to have to do academics maybe through a GAC or maybe use your A-levels if your A-levels are good enough. If you do the university route, you've done 1 year of your degree, you've now been backed by, let's say, Student Finance UK, and now you've got money saved up from the year before working, and now you apply to go and do these camps. You work with McCabe or Johnny Pike, and you get better. You're working with, let's say, a virtual coach already, so you know what it's like, what it is to be good. Like, you know where you have to be. You go out there, so when you get to a camp, you don't look like an arse. You perform properly. After you do that, the dominoes will start falling into place, and then you'll realize how quickly you get recruited. Don't fall into the trap of like these academies and all these things like that, because they just don't. And not all academies, like I said, DSA Academy, unbelievable. Adrian Clemens, unbelievable. I cannot stress that enough, right? I didn't go through that route. I actually had someone train me. His name was Salah Janasi. And Sal is what I call him, Sal for short. Sal was a big hero in my life. Like, he's someone who like would literally like get me out of bed, make me work out, make me run. And he's someone who used to train me out of the goodness of his heart because he saw that I had a future in this.
Where's Sal based then?
Sal, I don't know if he's still training people, but he's based in North London, and he was like,
Okay.
I had a bit of money saved up from working. I wanted to. I literally, how I explained what I would do is what I did. Like, I had saved up money from working, and I was like, look, I'll get someone to help train me, to teach me how to work out in the gym and stuff, to get stronger. And then I met Sal, who became one of my best friends, and he was like, don't worry about it. Like, we'll get you out. We'll get you ready. We'll get your mindset ready. And he trained me. He trained the crap out of me. So he helped me out big time. But like, obviously the money doesn't like last forever. You have to, like, my parents were helping me the best they could to a certain extent, but it's really, really difficult. I mean, Jack just said something that I want to read out if you don't mind, sir. But he just said, they're brilliant. He goes, I would recommend contacting uni coaches. If no success, go in a red shirt a year at JUCO. I think be brave, go out at 18 and learn over there. I think once you have the college experience and footage, you can always work towards going pro, as no age limit on kickers. This is true. But this is the problem. There's a problem with that. He's very right, and I would do that, but there's a problem with that. It's the funding. So if you have enough money for one semester, which we're talking about like $5,000, like I had saved the money, I had backing from my old man, I had backing from my mom. Like I went out there and I managed to, like pay one semester, and then I managed to get lucky and get onto a, they call it pay a rollback scholarship. I got lucky. I got very lucky. Some guys came out there, they weren't lucky, Yeah. So what I would do is I would try and avoid the JUCO route, but if you can't and it's inevitable, look at JUCOs not in California. Now, California JUCOs, junior colleges, do not offer scholarships. They offer academics and they offer other things, but they don't offer athletic scholarships. So you're going to California JUCO on one of their 280 JUCO schools, which is this ridiculous amount. You have to pay your way. But if you go and play in Middle America or somewhere like that, they have to give you a scholarship, especially if you're international. Well, they don't have to, but they will give you a scholarship if they want you. Like
so
we've seen in the last months. So you see.
What's the split? We'll kind of. What's the split on international players out there to Americans? How many international players go out there?
So, including myself, and I mean, I think that Bam is at Utah right now. I know that there's one. So I know he's at Utah. But including myself, there was 9 other international guys at JUCO. But the rate of British players going out there is extremely low. I think it's 1.2%, or I think it's even lower. I remember seeing the statistics. Someone showed it to me not too long ago. But I think the Australian is now margins like 40-something%. And the German is now going up to like 20-something%. Like it's now 100%. Like it's. I don't even know how I'm saying these stats, but I saw like a board, like a pie chart. Someone showed it to me not too long ago. But basically, British players are not doing it because I think Britball's the reason why we're not getting our guys out there. I do blame it.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a second. But so you've made it, you've got your scholarship, and you've got, like you say, there's 50% academic, which means you've still got to do your studies, and you've 50% football, or you can do, as you've been offered, 100% sport scholarships, and that basically means that at the end of this, you will get a university degree.
Yeah, you're going for academics. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like you're going for academic. Like you're going to do a degree. Like you've got a chance to go to an institution, study a degree that you come back has so much weight behind it. Like it will change your life, because football does not last forever. But like if you're going for a full scholarship, it doesn't happen all the time. When it comes to athletic, but if you've got academics under your belt and there's a guy next to you and he's better than you, but you have better academics, 9 out of 10 of the time they're going to take you. They're going to take you. They will take you. You just study your ass off. That's why I suggest the university route. You do a year, you get a first. Just work your ass off. You get a first. You transfer with a degree already, like a first year degree. That's already like 110 units, 120 units. So they do it by units. You're going to get so many opportunities to play somewhere, so many places, right? Like, it is just insane. Then they offer you a 50% off the bat and a 50% athletic, and boom, Bob's your uncle.
Then you're getting a university degree, and you've only got to pay for accommodation and flights.
Yeah,
and there you go. And there's
accommodation. They cover your accommodation. Like they.
All right.
If you're on scholarship, they cover your accommodation.
Oh wow!
And your meals.
Wow. So you just need to get there.
And you get $4,000 like every 3 months or every 4 months from a school.
So the sad bit, and it's the bit I know. I sort of purposefully did this because I know kind of you've got massive opinions on this, and I didn't want to kind of batter it too much. It's a sad shame that so many people in British American football aren't taking this opportunity. And we said in the front, we won't name names, but I mean, what are your thoughts? Why, when we're on 1% or something like that, or something tiny of players out there, what's holding people back?
I mean, I'm not slamming people because we've talked about not slamming people, but I wish I could, because like these people are holding them. I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna come on here and like talk about this stuff and then just like, devalue. Like I've got so many friends and they like, I literally have I got a list there of people I wrote names down. I'm not going to have time to say everyone. Okay. Like it's just impossible. So if everyone knows me, you're watching this, I've talked to you the last couple of days. I love you all very much and I appreciate you guys, but you guys have also not been, even the coaches I've spoken to the last couple of days, they've not been treated well. I appreciate British American football. I appreciate BAFA. I do. I appreciate the fact that we even have a league. Over there, they don't have leagues like this. We can play. We can play at our leisure. Or is it leisure? I don't know which one it is. But the thing is that
leisure.
It's a leisure. All right, leisure. So we can play. We can enjoy ourselves. But like at the same time, it's not. There is a problem within the Britballing community where it's like constant negativity on like. There was a guy that came to the practice not too long ago, many years ago when I was at the practice. I remember a guy came, he was like, "Oh no, I want to go play in the States. I want to play wide receiver." He was a skinny kid. He's like, I want to be a receiver. He's still like 18. Everyone was like, "Nah, you're stupid. You know the level you have to play." Yes, you have to train for it, but it's not impossible. Like I don't understand where this mentality has come from. Like when I was over there was not one coach. Yeah, some of the coaches were dicks, bro. But like, there was not one coach that ever said to a kid, like, "You're not going to go play in the NFL." Every single one of those guys, you were there to try and get to the NFL. I was maybe one of the only people who was there, like my dream is to play for a D1. And then eventually it developed into me wanting to play this at another level. So like it was, here it's always they get shot down. If you have a kicker, I do apologize to everyone watching because I am a kicker. I literally do not play another position. I suck at every other position. Like I mean, if any one of my guys or my friends are watching this, you can just comment about how bad my hands are. I could not catch a ball to save my life. Like I cannot catch American football to save my life. Like my coach tried to do a trick play. He used me as a blocker because I just can't catch. So I physically had to throw myself into someone because I could not catch. But yeah, I want you to highlight this, if you don't mind, sir, what Jack just said. It's really, really important.
That bit?
Fundamentally, physical group was complete. Yeah, because we do not have the facilities and the coaching to defend, oh my God, everyone is true. I was like, this freaking. But they don't have the facilities and the coaching to be able to get them to the next level. High school guys start lifting at 15. 15. Okay. Our guys start playing American football like 19 or 20 or 18. It's very difficult. There's another thing, the playbook. Learning the playbook over there is completely different to learning the playbook here. But it's not impossible because at the end of the day, you're your own coach. And if you physically, the internet is one of the most greatest inventions ever. Like you can find out literally how to train like an athlete, an NFL athlete in front of you. But whether or not you're going to support yourself and mentally and physically to get to that level is on you. And that is what is the difference between being a good player and a bad player, in my opinion. I mean, some of the guys in Britball, there's so many I think can go compete at D1 right now. But there are some other players here who are glorified, who couldn't even compete at a D3 or even compete at maybe even the European level, because they do something called, in my opinion, they hog the spotlight and they basically suck away the ability for the other players to get exposure. So, and I think the biggest problem we have is that the coaches here are doing the teams here are doing everything in their power to make the sport great, but at the same time they have to learn what the difference between fantasy coaching and stuff is and actual coaching is. And I'll leave the subject alone, but many people here will agree on this, is that when I turn up to practice and I'm there and then there's like 15 guys and we have a roster of like 40 people and everyone's coming like 5 minutes before the game, you're just not you're not committed. You're not then allowed to say like, I want to play pro or something. You're not allowed to say that. Like, right. There's a guy here, he plays for Derby, his name's Tay. He literally shows up a couple hours early first on the field getting ready. He leaves last. If you show up first and leave last, those are the guys that are going to make it. But like, it's I learned that over there. I mean, I was also a product of Britball. I do love Britball. I do think that it's got, its benefits. I do think everybody should give seniors a try, especially the kind of map that I laid out where I said you go and you play Britball for a year. I do think coaches here in the Britball community need to start being a bit more relaxed on their kickers and their punters. If a kid comes up to you in junior and says, I just want to kick and punt, it doesn't mean everyone's going to start doing that. They think everyone's going to be like, I just want to kick and punt. No. If some kid comes up to you and says, I just want to kick and punt, give me that chance, let him kick and punt. He's going to be one of your best players. Support him. Don't put him down. I was put down so much. So much. You can't just kick a punt. What's wrong with you? You're stupid. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just calm. If you're a Britball coach and you're hearing me right now, just please, if a guy comes to your practice and says, look, man, I'm a kicker, I'm a punter, I just want an opportunity to kick and punt. Think about tactically how you can use this guy. Get this guy good. You'll benefit from it so much. We won't be seeing 0-79 blowout games every weekend. Work with the holders. Work with the long snapper. Long snapper is another position I defend. Do you know how many long snappers? I'm at 30 long snappers on my team who are trying to compete for one spot. One spot. They only take one long snapper. They might take 3-4 kickers, but they only take one long snapper. Long snapping here is atrocious, but the guys who are good at it, they will make a difference in your team. That's how you start as well. Special teams are so important, man. We don't do special teams enough here, And can you do me a favor? I'm not going to mention it, but can you highlight this one for me, boss? I'm not going to say anything.
There you go.
yeah. Jack had a 58-yarder, but he's special teams are too underrated.
So what we're talking about here is the best way to get people, if they want to be, if they want to consider it, is to start them when they're in youth, when they're in junior, is to start them in that mentality of coming to football with basically the end goal of, if you work hard here, you go, you turn up early, you put the shift in, you learn your playbook, there will, as you have, there will be an opportunity for you to go over to the States and get a free education, which is massive.
There was an expression someone said to me once: if you're good enough, they'll find you, and trust me, they will find you. Superb.
Well, so I mean, we've rattled through absolutely, I think, as much. You've come from North London. You went over for your first camp. You did between there and Austria. You went for your second. Yeah, between Swarco, Humboldt, Citrus, Chafee. You're hopefully going to go back. You're considering the CFL draft, because there's an option open for you. You're still going to go back. And you're going to get your education. You're going to live that dream. You're going to have another 2 years. And don't forget, someone asked, the 6th of November. That's clearly the big one.
Yeah,
the
I'm taking it quite seriously. Yeah, I'm taking this game quite seriously.
That's the big one. We'll get you some footage of you absolutely booming some balls.
Well, no, because the other team. I don't know his surname. Like, just told me, but Aaron, he plays for Manchester. He's a hell of a kicker.
The boycott.
Yeah, he's on the other team, and he's fantastic. He's somebody, right? I mean, like I named a couple off my head, like Danny Burton, Aaron, Boycott. Is that how you say it?
I believe so. I'm going to look like a sausage.
Like Jack Moore. There are other guys that I haven't mentioned. I apologize. But like these are the guys who
Boycott.
Boycott. There you go. Yeah. These are the guys who are I think are ready to go play college. Like they can go play. I mean, obviously Jack's done his whole college career, and I think he's working on something else now. But with Aaron and like Danny and those kind of guys, man, they are the gems that are just hidden. Like I was so shocked to know they exist when I first came back from the States. I was like, these guys can really kick. But then that's the thing. Like they would never know their level if they never had exposure. And that's why I wanted to say something real quick, and then I'll get out of here. Then I'll leave it alone. Is that we have an Instagram up called Kickers Corner, which is going to be like, I think we spoke about it earlier, but we're going to be trying to start ranking kickers in the UK. Next year, or maybe if we're lucky at the end of this year, we're going to be I will be running a kicking camp with one of the coaches from over there. And we'll be opening up a kicking camp here where we're going to try and start getting our kickers ranked and start getting our kickers to play properly, to try and get them kicking in a way that allows them to be consistent and not just like booting the crap out of the ball. Maybe it goes and maybe it doesn't, because I believe truly, and I said this to you many times, but I believe truly that if our British guys who are into kicking start taking it seriously, and I mean like repetitive, like you've got to be on it, okay, and they start dedicating themselves to that position, they will be successful. Like message myself or message. I don't even know what my Instagram handle is. You might know what it is. I don't know what it is, but we're gonna have a kicking camp coming up. Message Jack. Jack, put your Instagram thing in. I don't even know what. I think mine's like Brad something 14C on Instagram. But it's Brad 14C. Message me on Instagram if you want to know about these things. Message someone like Jack. Danny Burton, he's on Instagram. Message Aaron. These guys who are kickers, who are proper kickers. We're gonna do something coming up soon. That's gonna start ranking our guys. We're gonna have some competitions done. We're gonna get this ball rolling, because the one thing I want to do before I go back, or maybe I'm done. I don't know. I just want to know is like what I don't want to know, but what I want is for our guys to have a chance who are kickers, for the receivers and the running backs and stuff like that. And quarterbacks and every other position, there is also opportunities for you right now, especially if you're younger. But you need to seriously commit to a lifestyle that puts you in the position to want to go out there. And I think I missed out some people that I mentioned earlier, but
go on, we'll rattle through them. Go on.
I apologize. I was going to leave it at that. I'm quite talkative, and my coaches have called me a social butterfly, and they've called me like other crap. Like they called me London for 2.5 to 3 years. I was there. They didn't call me Brad Charalambous. They called me London, because I went out there, and my coach is Ron Ponciano. Man, I saw one of my teammates from Citrus comment earlier. His name's Bryce. Hell of a running back. I think he plays D1 now, Florida. There, his best friend. Yeah, he's one of my best friends too. He's a D1 running back. He's phenomenal, and he literally beef Frenchie, and he literally remembers this. He was with me. I went into the the office, and we sat down. And Ron Ponciano was like, "Okay, Bryce Frenchie, yeah, okay, cool. Yes, we're gonna call you Frenchie or Bryce." He's like, "Okay, cool." And then, I still call him London. Yeah, he does. And then he looked at me. I think it goes Bradley Charalambous, and they call you by your surname. There, they don't call you by your first name. We had like 7 Bradleys on the team. I know I have seen 7 Bradleys in one place. And they were like, "Okay, your name's London." And then when we had like our ceremony of like 2 years, right? They were like Bradley Charalambous, and I go to stand up, and one of my friends, he grabs me, like, "Sit down, London." He said Bradley Charalambous, not you. I was like, "No, my name's Bradley Charalambous." And the guys were like, "What?" And the whole team like was freaking out and everything, and was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Did you think my name was London and I was from London? You think my mom is stupid enough to name me London from London?" I mean, some people might be. I don't apologize, isn't it? Like, apologize. But like, dude, do you think like they believed my name was London for 2.5 years to 3 years? Like, I'm surprised my girlfriend knew my real name. Maybe, I don't know. Like, she didn't even know I was British until like our 4th date, and I'm still with her now. So like, I don't know what to say.
You must have done something right. You must have done something right.
I don't know, but everyone that I haven't thank you very much. For the universities that helped me, like Leeds, Beckett, Derby, I appreciate everyone. Citrus College was phenomenal. Chatham College is even more phenomenal. Thank you to everyone, all the coaches who supported me, some of you guys I mentioned. At the end of the day, you can only be your savior in being successful. And if you're not, then you're gonna find that you're gonna always be short of the goal line, I guess. So it's you can do it. If you have dreams to play out there, you can do it. Hit me up if you want to know about the kicking stuff. I'm sure I'm going to be on here again with you probably to talk about this.
I was going to say, you're rattling through all the names and all that. We're probably going to have you back on. So
yeah, it's the first time I've done this. I'm very nervous. I apologize, but I'm done. Anyway, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anymore. I'm done.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And a massive thanks from Gridiron Hub to Bradley London, for coming on. If you want any other details, if you didn't get any of the bits and pieces, you can always contact Gridiron Hub, message Gridiron Hub, or message me. I'm Mike Island. I'm everywhere. The Schmider series is all over the place. But yeah, message anybody. We want you to go out there here at Gridiron Hub. We all want you to go out there. We all wanted to realize this dream. It is doable. And folks like us, like London over here, will help you because we want you to go and do it. We want you to go and get education out there because the opportunities are there. So why not take advantage of it. So a massive thanks to Brad for coming on the show. It's been absolutely fantastic, and a big thanks and big loves from me. Goodbye.
Thumbs up.